I'll be honest with you. I think that I think he's onto something, and I believe every single division in the NFL clearly has their own nemesis, if you will. And I really don't think that Kansas City is the nemesis to Denver. So,
but now, I gotta ask: is it just because of the record? Because I remember I was here for this game a few years ago that when the Chiefs were undefeated, I think they were 9-0. Denver was 8-1. It was a Sunday night. It was a Sunday night matchup. So, I mean, are you telling me that this isn't a rivalry? Because at the time when they went at it with each other, I mean, it was pretty big.
Well, you can definitely ask that question. Maybe Shannon Sharp would beg to differ with my conversation, with my thought process. But there is some chippy plays. I mean, clearly you do see that as the game goes on. Clearly whoever's not winning is the one that becomes a little chippy at the line. And sometimes coaches will tend to have words. We've seen it in the NFL last year with Joey Porter jumping out on the field for the Steelers, and I don't know that I get that feel, that sense that these two are going to knock down, drag out fight, but they know that they're in one.
All right. Speaking of someone who can actually attest to it better than we can, we have my good friend Mark Collins, former two-time Super Bowl champion with the New York Giants, as well as former team MVP here with the Kansas City Chiefs. Mark, good morning to you.
What's up, sir?
Huh?
What's up? How you doing?
Doing well. Thank you for joining us this morning. I know we only got you for a little bit of time, so we want to jump right into things. You were at the game Sunday. I know you were there with your son. What did you see, from the last two games that if you were on that coaching staff or you could, talk to Andy Reid, that you would say, hey, these are the immediate changes that you need to do defensively or even offensively with this team right now?
Well, one thing about football is sometimes, pretty much any sport, we're talking football now, but sometimes we think things are a knee-jerk reaction. On the Chiefs' offense, the injuries, and after a while, defenses catch up to you, and that happens. The Chiefs are still explosive, so I'm not worried about the offense. But on the defensive side of the ball, there are some things that, you saw habits forming pretty much early in the season. When teams start going for it on fourth down consistently, first of all, they're trying to take the art of the ball, and secondly, they're not respecting your defense.
No, not at all.
And that was really excellent when the Texans had the ball on or about the Chiefs' 20-yard line, and a field goal would have iced the game. And it was 4th and 2 or 3, and they went for it and got it. And that's me. That's an ultimate disrespect of your defense. They're telling you, we're going to do whatever you want to do, and you can't stop it. And then I didn't see anybody, from where I was sitting that really rose to the occasion. Hey, listen, I get it. Those offensive players get paid too. I get it. But to hear a comment after that game when one of the players said, we lost our passion.
Yeah.
That's why I lost it. I said, wait a minute.
Yeah, and Mark, I want to ask you about that specifically because I know, again, you were a great player when you played not only with the Chiefs but with the New York Giants. In the locker room, I don't know. If it's me, it's going to be some furniture moving going on. Did you? Is that what you took from it? That when someone says that they lost their passion or whatever, why even suiting? Why are you collecting a paycheck?
Well, that's something that the team, the ownership, and the coaches got to go over and settle. But after the game in the locker room, we don't hear all the conversations. The media goes to 1, 2, 3, 4 players, and you really don't get the gist of what somebody said until the next day or that night on the news. So, as a player, being in that situation, and you hear something like that, I'm going to immediately call, if I were on that team, I'm going to have a defensive-only meeting that Monday morning because that's something that needs to be addressed. And not only did that player say something that really kind of irked me, and I've been out of the league for 20 years, and I spoke to a lot of defensive players throughout the NFL who played in the league, responded to me, like, man, you know what? You are spot on. But back to my point, what this guy has done is pretty much throwing his defensive players under the bus and his defensive coordinator. Because when you think about it, when you say you lost your passes to stop the run or stop the pass, whatever, dude, as a former player, as a DB, I'm going, hey, man, you the one who got ran over by a quarterback in the end zone. You start finger pointing when you start making comments as we lost our passion, our intensity. The company, the base company line that everybody uses in every sport, you know what? We have to play harder, we have to do the small things. The company line, that's the company line. The minute you start saying we include everybody negatively, that's when you get in trouble, and that's when you have that defensive only meeting.
Yeah, I can see. I can see why you got fired up.
Oh yeah.
After that comment was made. Now, Mark, I want to look at tonight's game. So, tonight, obviously, is this still, in your opinion, a rivalry game between the Chiefs and the Broncos? Records notwithstanding.
Well, it's always a rivalry game with the Broncos and the Raiders. Those are teams that the Chiefs just don't like, and when I came home from New York, you get it. You get it real fast. It's still there. I like to beat the Broncos, especially in Denver. It's always a good feeling. We've done it before. It feels good to get on that plane and come back to Kansas City. But it's a rivalry. It's a mutual hate deal. So there'll be some little pushing and shoving, but not as much as against the Raiders. But I know the Chiefs don't like the Raiders or the Broncos hardly at all.
Mark, I actually had a question. It's relatively unrelated, but at the same token, there was that game the other night that happened between the Lions and the Packers. And everybody wants to talk about it, but nobody really wants to come up with an actual solution to this. And there were two face mask penalties. Those penalties, notwithstanding the fact alone that this was a premier night for the NFL, and secondly, you had some blown NFL calls. The NFL came out after the fact to say that, well, we made an error, so on and so forth. Did you see those penalties actually being hands to the face, which is an illegal penalty?
Well, the call hands to the face is a legal penalty. Now, did I see it happen? No. So what the league does, and to cover the CYA. Is, they'll give a little slap on the wrist. Oh, yeah, we blew the call, but, let's keep the train moving. I get it. But this is one thing that you guys got to understand. And I've done the NFL's officiating boot camp. I went to it. I was a back judge and all that stuff. I get what they're doing. But, and these officials, they get graded after every game. And the higher the grades you get as far as, you grade a high out of 100, you get the playoff games and the Super Bowl. You get based on your grades.
Yep.
Now, the lower you get, you don't get back pay. You can pretty much work yourself out of the league.
Mm-hmm.
So I think sometimes, it balances itself out to a point. But what it does, it kind of takes away from getting the game to call right. And that's the whole key. When I went through the officiating deal and go and talk to officials in the NFL, they want to get the game, the call right. What I think they did not do was go back and fix it. That was a fixable deal during the game, but they chose not to do it, and that's disappointing.
Well, Mark, here's the other flip side of that is that what it does, especially when the officials become the big news coming out of the game, that makes them more afraid to throw the flags later on in the future games coming up because they don't want to be the reason why a team wins or loses a game.
Well, the reason they didn't throw the flag, Darren, is because, and this is it's from high school all the way to college to the pros. The reason they don't throw the flag because the best call is a no call, and that resonates to every part of the football. Now, in college, they get instant replay, they can fix it. NFL, they get instant replay, they can fix it. So that's the disappointing part of it. It's got instant replay, fix it. I mean, if you could call pass interference or non-pass interference, and the players and the coaches can challenge it to add the call or not, then they could have done that on that penalty too, on that hands to the face.
Yeah, Mark, I'm officiating and stuff crazy. Now, we've talked about it before. I do want to get your thoughts on this. Roger Goodell addressed the media yesterday at the league owners meeting, and he did say that the 17-game schedule is on the docket, I guess, for negotiation with the NFL Players Association. Now, I spoke with Demore Smith last week about that, and he said that that is on the docket. Of course, he couldn't really get into obviously negotiations over the airways, but. What are your thoughts on it? Because I know when we last talked about it before, I told you I was in favor of 7. Look, if you're going to make an expansion, I'm in favor of the 17 games. You keep the 8 regular season games at home and away. Maybe the 17th game you do a trip overseas or play a game overseas or in a big-time college stadium or something like that. But it looks as though one way or another, the owners always end up getting their way. How do you view this?
Well, first of all, we discussed it a little bit. But when they add that extra game or two that we're talking about one now, they're going to take a game out of preseason. And the owners really make their money on the preseason and the postseason. That's the only time the players, they don't get their salary during the preseason games and the postseason games. They get a significant pay cut in those games. So now they're going to add another game on the front end. So that's going to take a little money out of the owner's pocket. But the TV contracts are coming up, and the CBA is coming up, so more money will be added. My thing with that is either A, I'll just put it in this order. As a former player, if more money is going to go into the conference of the NFL and its players, I think they should take care of the older players, increase our pensions and our benefits, and add medical first. Secondly, you're going to have to add extra players to the roster. Right now they're a 53-man, I do believe. You're going to have to add, maybe 2 or 3 or 4 more players to expand the roster because now you got extra game, which means extra injury. So, and thirdly, ticket prices may go up. So they're going to try to generate as much money as possible because they're losing money on the front end and the back end. So so the guys and the people going to pay for it are the fans. And the people buy the merchandise.
Well, the one thing I do know, Mark, is that people will pay for a good product. I mean, you see what's going on in Kansas City with the Mahomes effect. Ticket prices have gone up. I mean, even when you travel to a road game or looking at the Nashville game or the Tennessee Titans game, that game is cost an arm and a leg just for a nosebleed seat. Well over $100 for, and we see the Tennessee Titans are not a good team, but of course the Chiefs have Patrick Mahomes, and that's the effect that it makes. Mark, before we get you out of here, give me your final thoughts on tonight's game and the outcome, in your opinion, and what the score is going to be.
Well, I'm not a prognosticator, but I'll say this: my thing is the Chiefs will win. I don't doubt that one bit. It's going to be a close game, and they're going to play well. They'll play very well. I think somebody got in somebody's in that locker room and some stuff was said. I heard. But, I
believe rumors.
I just want the team to get a win, come home, regroup, take advantage of the bye week, go back to the fundamentals that got you that great start, and then finish strong. That's basically it.
Mark, I know I said get you, but I got to ask this question. Okay. Now, Andy Reid has come to the press conference last couple of weeks and has said, things that they hadn't done. I asked him in the press conference last week, what adjustments did he make as it relates to the running game? 2 weeks ago, they ran the ball 14 times, only got 36 yards. Last week, they ran it 11 times, 55 yards or so. Are you confident that Andy's going to make the adjustments to, control, not really control, but just make sure that they're not, out possession with the time of possession, and that Steve Spagnuolo would do something with that defense to not give up 180-plus yards 4 weeks straight?
Oh, I'm quite sure. Listen, I never second-guess Andy Reid. I mean, he's been there, done that. He knows the game as well as anybody else. And one thing you got to remember, and that's what you mentioned, you got to get back to basics. You can't be one-dimensional. You can't be 80-20 pass the run or 90-10. You got to have a good balance. And that's what the Chiefs offensively has gotten away from. They're doing a lot of formations and trying to get the ball. But you throw the ball, 50, 60 times a game, after a while, defenses throughout the league going to say, well, they're going to throw. They throw more than they pass. They run. You got to get back to basics. I think tonight you'll see a steady dose of run. Take some time off the clock, give the defense a rest, then keep the other Denver's defense on balance.
All right, that's Mark Collins. Mark, I appreciate your time, my friend, and look forward to talking to you when I get back to Kansas City.
All right, Darren, have a good show.
I
Good.
appreciate it. All right, we are live here at the Moxie Denver Cherry Creek. You can, of course, find them on Twitter, hashtag at the Moxie, where they toss out stodgy suits and forever check-in lines and created a stylish atmosphere where self-service means you can do what you want, when you want, without holding you up. Because you know how to take your coffee or your Manhattan and you have places to be. Where we really spurred is on the modern residential design, high-speed Wi-Fi, a buzzing living space where things are always happening, and a seriously comfortable bed so you can kick off your shoes and get rested for whatever comes next. It's just like home, but with a bartender. Online at Marriott.com, the Moxie Denver Cherry Creek. Moxie plays with the rules of the industry and shows them a good time. Rudy and I will be right